Hey guys, welcome back to the Devine Witch. Today it is January 3rd, 2022, and this is going to be our first upload of the year. I look kind of rough, but it's all right. We're going to be doing my makeup. I'm going to be talking to you guys about some things. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the Devine Witch going as a private group. And when is that going to start? What does that mean? So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and dive in as I'm trying to figure out what eyeshadow I want to wear today. So the reason that we're doing this is, one, it gets rid of complications. It gets rid of people who don't want to show up to events when they say they're going to show up, taking spots, especially at like events like Witch in the Woods, which, you know, we haven't been able to do Witch in the Woods for the last couple of years because can't get a group site because of COVID. So that's still a thing. We're hoping that this year all that dissipates and we can actually finally do Witch in the Woods. If not, we're going to figure something out more because we need to get back to our woods. So that's basically what I want to say. So another reason why we're going to end up going to a private group is for this reason. There's a lot of people who are still in the broom closet. And there's not a lot of open groups that cater to that. And I want to make it to where if you are in the broom closet, you don't have to worry about being outed. And that's one of the big things that people have issues with. So by being a closed group, we can invite people in and they don't have to fear about being outed. It's going to be part of the thing. Another thing with us going to a closed group, we're going to have an email system so you guys know when the events are coming up. There will be like a fee. We haven't figured out the fee for like the monthly, either a monthly due or like a yearly due. And basically this covers all the cost, right? So it covers the cost of renting places, anything that we do with the Devine Witch, so forth and so on. Because for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been covering it, except for what we get from our Patreon. Give me 1 second. Bear, thank you. Gotta love dogs. From what we got on our Patreon, or what I put into it, or yada yada, so forth and so on. So I feel like this would be easier too, because if you pay for something, you normally have more concern about what it is, where it's at, so forth and so on. So it's not going to be like an extreme amount, maybe like $20 for the year, and that'll cover, like if you come to Witch in the Woods, that'll cover your tent cost, or tents up to 2 people. That's something that we're working on throughout this year. So this whole year we're still going to be in an open group. Everybody's invited. Once that gives us time to get all the procedures, all the information for people. So that way, when we do go to a closed group, we can send out that information and everything else. So fingers crossed it goes well. And the great thing about this is it also helps us keep track of like our engagements, how many people we got versus how many we don't got. And even when we are a closed group, we're still going to have 2 open things during the year. 1, Witch in the Woods, and 2, our Yule event, which I'm going to be covering the cost of here in probably March or April, and booking the spot for the Yule event and trying to book the spot for the Witch in the Woods camping trip. So those 2 will already be paid for as far as like the location. Then it gets into the things like, you know, the firewood, the food, the entertainment, finding different vendors to host during that time period. Because since we haven't been able to do Witch in the Woods for a couple years, we are going to do a 2-day Witch in the Woods event this year. So now that that's out of the way, we're going to talk about my availability, because many of you guys come here for my readings and things like that. So in 2021, one of the things that I contemplated during December was my life, which, as you guys know, last year was a little bit topsy-turvy. And to be realistic on a sincere level, like my mental health was shit. There was a lot of times where it was like a couple weeks to maybe a month that I couldn't even push myself to get on here or to make videos. And it just became the spiral. And I asked myself, during December, like, what can I do to change? And one of the things is finding balance between my witchy life and my regular everyday life, and trying to find that balance. So that is why now at the Devine Witch, there is only 4 events during a year. Gives us more time to focus on those events while not overdoing it with having to plan an event every month. And it becomes overwhelming. The next thing that I'm going to do is Monday through Friday, unless I'm just not having a good mental health day. I will be live at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the weekends, I will not be doing any private readings unless you book 2 hours. And for a 2-hour reading, you're looking about $150. Now, with that being the case, I don't see a lot of people getting that. I will still do my private reads during the week. Any spell work, I won't do on the weekends unless it is over that $150 threshold. The reason why I'm saying that is for this reason, that a lot of the times people want to come to me, and this was a problem that I had last year. They wanted to get questions while I wasn't on a live. That's not how I do things. When I go on a live, I do the courtesy of doing questions for you guys. But realistically, when I'm off that live, I don't do just basic single questions like that. That's not how I roll. So if you want a reading when I'm not in a live, you're going to have to pay for a reading, which brings me up to my reading rates have changed. As you guys know, inflation is a thing. The cost of living has went up, foods went up, my electricity bills went up, like it's a whole thing. So last couple months of the year, start implementing my changes slowly but surely. So if you book a half an hour, you're looking at $50. If you book an hour, you're looking at $75. If you book 2 hours, you're looking at $150. So there's that. Also, it's not 2 for $5 for questions anymore. It's 2 for $6. If you want just one question, it is $4. So I'm just putting that out there. Now, when it comes to the money that I make off of my readings off of YouTube, it gets split. Half of it goes towards me, half of it goes towards either donations that we're making, or it goes back into the Devine Witch to be able to do things, right? So just so you know where the money's going. Now, last year we were able to do quite a bit of things. We got to do the community garden, which we did really well. I think we did like 10 families we were able to help with food. Then during the fall, we did actually, I think it was in August, we had our event for the picnic. And we were able to get canned food during that and donate. Dagda's Cauldron's been doing really well, and there's been crap ton of food donations from Dagda's Cauldron. Then when we started Hestia's Table, we were able to do around $100 to $150 worth in toys for kids, and that got donated. And then we were also able to do, I think it was $77 or almost $100 for the Kentucky Relief Fund. So we were able to do a lot of things last year and expand and be able to help our community along with surrounding communities. So cheers to that. I haven't even done any of my makeup yet, and I said I was going to. But that's what happens when you ramble, so to speak. So with all that being said, I have also did another thing, and this isn't towards anybody. It's not to make them feel bad, but if I don't have you here in my normal everyday life, then I don't have you on Facebook. I started getting rid of people because it got to a point to where, like, I don't mind helping people with magical questions. I don't mind, booking certain spell works and stuff like that. But it got to a point to where, when you have a conversation with somebody, you think that it would be a conversation, not just magical. Because when it comes to my magical life, if you want me to teach you something, I have classes for that on my Patreon. If you want a reading, you can book a reading, and everything in between. Like, and it just got to a point to where I'm like, I got to separate the two, which, was the deal Yesterday, I went through and got rid of a bunch of people. So if you are one of those people, it's nothing against you. I just got to separate my personal life and my business life. And I wish you well. So don't take offense to it. It's not you. It's me. I'm literally focusing on myself this year. So, you know, I'm being selfish and I'm not sad about it. I think we all should be selfish at times. And, you know, for the longest time, I felt bad if I didn't dedicate all my time or if I didn't do what I thought I needed to do. But even as I sit here and talk about it, I feel empowered. You know what I mean? Like taking back the reins of my life and realizing I got to make time for myself. And it's a hard thing to realize, especially, you know, when you're used to constantly going. Now, I'm not saying my life has slowed down, not by any means, for the reason being that I've been working on a protection PDF that will be available, and when it is, I will tell you guys. And I will actually do Zoom classes, which is another thing I was going to bring up. If you are interested in a protection Zoom class, email me. My email's down below, like it always is on every video. And when I get that completed, I will email you and you can decide whether or not you want to take the course. Now, if I do this course, it is going to be $50. For the reason being, I'm not even all the way done with the PDF that I'm writing step by step. And I've already got like almost 40 pages of that. So you not only get the PDF, you get me talking about what's in the PDF, answering questions. It's like a 2-hour class. So the range is probably going to be anywhere between $50 or $60 for the class, but you get to keep that. You can ask me questions afterward, the whole 9 yards. And it's all on protection. Everything from candles to oils to jars to salts to ritual baths to anything and everything that deals with protection in one PDF. And to be honest, it'll probably be longer than what I'm thinking it may be. So take that as is. If you want to sign up for it, email me. And I will email you once I'm done with it. And then we can all pick a day that works good for us. So with that being said, welcome to the new year. Hopefully you have some goals that you wish to achieve during and throughout the year. And you have a good support system, which is another thing I want to talk about. I am so grateful for the support system that I have. And even though it's hard for me to take compliments, extremely hard, because I'm so used to like that old mentality of trauma of not getting compliments. So when I do, it feels awkward and odd. And that's one of the things that I can say about this community on here is that you guys have made me a little bit more confident. Is that a word? Maybe more confident within myself. And I'm lucky to not only have that online, but in person as well. So I want to thank you guys for that. And thank you guys for reaching out and, you know, wishing me happy holidays and all that good emotion. Words can't describe things like that. You know what I mean? Especially when you start to get into that seasonal depression and you get that boost of love, that boost of energy that you wouldn't normally have. My husband's probably about to walk through that door here in a second, just so you guys know. I know some of you guys watch the videos for the dogs and they're like, ooh, the dogs were doing this. Naughty little dogs, right? Side point. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good year. Now, as far as what you're going to see here over at the Devine Witch, I do plan to do some more meet the staff interviews. That's going to happen as well. And I also want to show more spell work on here to help you guys out and maybe even discuss some of the things that I discussed and all the PDFs that I plan to make here in the next year. Because I want to make one PDF course, maybe per season, on different subjects. So January to March is going to be the protection one. And then from April to June, I don't know what it's going to be yet, but there will be something and so forth and so on. So that way you guys can get courses from me, or, you know, you can come in for a course. And then once you're done, if you want to ask questions about your deity or something that you're going through, you know, I'm here to help, especially if you're paying for a course. Like me personally, when I do the Zoom, I expect between what I have to go over along with answering questions for it to be around 2 hours to cover the PDF and about another 2 hours to answer questions if we get that many people, or an hour. So somewhere in between there. So you're really getting your money's worth when it comes to that, or any class that I plan to do. I'm trying to think of what else I need to tell you. I will be doing monthly newsletters like we did before. I can't promise that they're actually going to be on the day, because I always set this thing like on the 1st. There's going to be a video, and it never fucking happens. So we're not going to do that. You're going to get a newsletter somewhere randomly within the month. And when you do, you're going to be like, there's that monthly newsletter, because sometimes you got to wait for things. I will let you guys know the Witch Shop Hop is going to be happening. I'm super excited for that. We are going to take COVID as precaution, and I will be talking to you guys in February about all the beautiful details of that, because towards the end of January is when I'm actually going to be setting everything up and getting it all squared away with me, the staff, and the shops. So that way we're all ready for you guys and to get that ball going and rolling. Bless you. But I will let you know this. We will be taking donations. So whenever I'm doing readings for the next 3 months, it's literally going to go towards eggs, a bunny costume, and candy for the kiddies, okay? And for the adults, because we're all kids, really. We're just bigger and more responsibility. But it's going to be fun times, and that's the only clue I'm going to give you. So with that being said, I think I've covered everything. I haven't put a stitch of makeup on yet. And I've got it all right here in front of me. So I'm going to jump off here, get my makeup on. Hopefully we can enjoy our time together this year. I do want to show you guys some more spirit work, a little bit more ritual work, a little bit more magical spells and jars and different things that you can do as well. So expect that for the new coming year. And with that being said, I want you guys to know, from me to you, have a blessed new year.